Yo, what's good, everybody? It's your boy, the Anime Ambu here, coming back at you with part 46 of What If Naruto Was Like Minato, otherwise known as Return of the Flash on Wattpad. And if you want to read the story for yourself or don't like the way that I narrate things, that's totally fine. You can find the links in the description. They'll bring you to the Discord server as well as this story if you wanted to read it for yourself. Also, I know that you guys have been wondering where I'm at. If you want to know, you can ask me on Discord. I do still respond over there. I know it's been a minute since I was active, but I'm not dead. I'm still here, and still gonna make videos for you guys because it's something that I enjoy to do, and I'll continue doing it until I don't. Also, we are almost at 3,000 subscribers. I believe we hit 2.9 thousand while I was gone, and I just wanted to give you guys a big thank you and a huge shout out. I really appreciate it. It's mind blowing to me, and it's only up from here, and we'll continue to push that. We have a video almost at 40,000 views. It is insane to me. I never expected that we could do this. So let's just keep going and see how far we can take it. But without further ado, I appreciate you guys. Wanted to give you guys a huge shout out and a big thank you and let you guys know that I'm back. I don't know how often videos are going to come. I don't know what series are going to come. I'm just going to try to make videos when I want to and enjoy them. And I hope that you guys can understand that. Without further ado, this is your boy, the Anime Ambu, and cue the intro, please. Alright, so with all that out of the way and all the beginning stuff out of the way, let's hop right on in to the video. Once I can get this to work. Okay, there we go. Alright, so I left you guys off on a cliffhanger last episode. Sorry about that. I don't know how many people actually wanted to get this next part, but I'm just going to do it and knock it out for you guys. It's 1:23 in the morning right now, so I apologize if I sound a little tired. I am a little tired, but I found some time to make this and also wanted to. So, let's just do it already. I keep talking way too much. I have such a bad habit of doing that. Tsunade took off from where Jiraiya left. Exactly. The type of clone that is entirely separate from the user, having no connection to it at all, other than being made from the user's blood and one aspect of the user's personality. When he made it, Minato had no uses for it in mind, other than using for his test. It was entirely useless and too impractical. It took up way too much of the user's chakra, almost half a quarter more than a shadow clone. Jiraiya took over from there. But in the end, it worked very well for his trials. In the end, Minato had conducted a total of 98 trials, 86 of which were failures back to back. But the last 12, they were a success Minato was desperately hoping for. After the 12th success, Minato finally imprinted the seals on himself. As much as I like the tale, how were you involved in this process? Naruto's sarcasm wasn't missed. A guilty look came across Jiraiya's face, and Tsunade sighed and looked down. I wasn't exactly involved. Jiraiya admitted. More like I told him that it wasn't possible. Tsunade, on the other hand, was the medical advisor of the project. Since Minato was creating an entirely new separate set of seals, he asked me to be the advisor for the project. My knowledge of the human body and medical seals were required for him to calculate how much exactly to enhance a specific part of the body and by basically how much. And he was successful in the end, Naruto concluded. Jiraiya nodded. We were there, of course, when he decided to apply the seal onto himself, to intervene in any sort of emergency. But it wasn't needed. Minato was in pain for over an hour, but when it was finally over, he had succeeded. He had enhanced his own body perfectly. There was a reason that only 4 people were involved in this project. He even kept the Hokage in the dark about this, as daring as it was. Why? Jiraiya's face turned grim. There was no way we could risk this project to fall into someone else's hands. Okay, so they're referencing Orochimaru here. I almost said Orochimaru. So yeah, let's continue. Tsunade nodded. The rumors surrounding him at the time made us very suspicious. If he even got wind of what Minato had achieved, he would have done anything to get his hands on the formula. Naruto nodded and slowly walked around the office, trying to think about what he should do. Jiraiya didn't need to be a Yamanaka to know what was going. Why am I yawning so much now? Whatever. To know what was going on inside Naruto's mind. You want to perform the procedure as well. But Naruto wasn't listening to him anymore. What do you think, Kurama? That your father was one smart son of a blank. Kurama dawdled back. Naruto gave an internal annoying sigh. Not that I'm against you praising him. I'm talking about another matter. I'm not praising that blonde vermin. Kurama snarled inside his mind. Then, in a much calmer voice, he continued. Also, it would give you quite an advantage should you undergo the procedure. I've seen it from inside your mother and know what the result will be. Naruto rose an eyebrow. I sense a but coming. Kurama nodded. I think that you should wait for 1 or 2 years before undergoing the procedure. It'd be wise if you underwent it at the same age as your father. Best not take any chances. Naruto was excited, as any child of his age, when he heard that he could get stronger in a way that would be cool. But he rarely. Oh my gosh! Sorry, guys, I'm yawning. But he rarely let excitement make decisions for him. Disappointed yet accepting of Kurama's advice, he nodded. Turning back, he saw the concerned look over the adults' faces. What? Tsunade spoke up. You alright? Naruto waved away her concern. Nothing. I was just talking to the QB. Tsunade's eyes bugged out in horror. What? Naruto raised an eyebrow in confusion. Edo Sennin didn't tell you that? Tsunade's face twisted into one of rage and annoyance as she turned to the white-haired sage, who was trembling in his place. He weakly defended himself. I forgot. Tsunade cracked her knuckles as she walked forward menacingly. I'll give you a dose of medicine that'll strengthen your memory. What followed next was history repeating itself. Naruto just shrugged and took his leave. He had another errand to do anyways. Alright guys, so this is like the first little section with the like 6 X's that like tells you, oh, you ended a part. Oh. Wake up, buddy. Alright, I'm gonna get a drink of water because I need to not fall asleep. And you guys should get a drink of water too, because it's important to hydrate yourself. I know we haven't had a water break in a while, but I'll take this moment to take one for 2 seconds. All right. Wow. I feel like I just got brought back from the grave. Let's continue. Tamari was sitting in the dining area of her home of her soon-to-be home, sipping some tea she made for herself. As she relished the hot, steaming beverage soothing her throat, she thought back to the last few days she had spent with Naruto. He was very affectionate to her, and she had observed that he was very gentle when talking to her, but too much as to treat her like she was a precious glass. He respected her as a kunoichi in her own right, and wasn't afraid to beat her into the ground to get a point across when they trained together. He genuinely seemed to have loved her, if the small but sweet gestures by him were anything to go by. She greatly enjoyed the times that they were intimate. Okay. She enjoyed the hugging, snuggles, and cuddles with him was something she would never get bored of. Such sweet gestures made her love him even more. I'm not reading some of the parts, guys. All right, listen. We've been over this. How many times have I had to reiterate this fact? I'm not going to read the parts anymore. And you already know what I'm talking about, so I shouldn't have to specify. But if you watched part 15, you would know. No more. All right? So let's continue. The love between them was growing stronger steadily. She didn't even need to say how accomplished he was as a shinobi at such a young age. However, it was how he normally acted that surprised her. Naruto is generally a very calm person and very observant. He was not a foolish idealist, but rather his ideals were approached with a realistic and pragmatic approach. This was something he told her himself. He did not disapprove of having ideals to live by and accomplish, but he seemed to genuinely loathe people who blindly tried to achieve those ideals without taking the reality into account. Naruto had told her in a joking way that people seemed to think he was a very patient person, and it was true, mostly on the outside though. Rarely did any one of his friends say that they had ever seen Naruto get angry, but Naruto had quietly told her the truth one time when they were in the living room. He preferred not to show his rage on the outside, but kept it within him and channeled it in a very efficient way. Naruto hated when he was not in control of things, but that did not go to say that he was a control freak. He was more than happy to let others control things for him when he deemed himself incapable to do so. Before she could dwell on her thoughts more, she jumped a bit when the door to the garden opened and a figure stepped in. She had almost thrown a kunai at the figure when she recognized the blonde hair, and she relaxed and let out a breath she was holding. "At least knock before you enter, will you?" she muttered. Naruto smiled sheepishly and raised his hands. "I just wanted to see how you would react." Tamari snorted. "I almost threw a kunai at your head." Naruto nodded approvingly and walked around the sofa to sit with her. He wrapped an arm around her and gently pulled her into his side. "I had something to talk about with our Hokage." Guys, reading these parts. All right, I'm just gonna do it. No emotion, just straight face. All right. Tamari rested her head on his shoulder. They rested like that for a while, after which Tamari muttered, "Today's been a slow day." Naruto's hand that was rubbing her side absently, not that she minded, stopped. "Slow as in boring?" Tamari nodded in reply. She had been bored out of her mind. She would have trained and explored the village, but for some reason she was feeling quite lazy today. "Did you want to go on a date?" Naruto asked. Her brow furrowed as she tilted her head to gaze into his eyes. His eyes were twinkling with mischief, which caused her to put up her guard. From what she had seen, Naruto was not a person to pull many pranks, but she did not know that he was the resident prankster of the village. She raised an eyebrow questioningly. "A date?" Naruto nodded excitedly. "Yeah." She thought about it a bit. It had been a while since they had been on one of those, in the past 2 days. "Sure, why not?" Naruto grinned like the cat who got the canary. "Great. Be ready at 8 in the evening. Wear something nice and casual." With that, he suddenly got up from the couch, whistling a random tune, and Tamari chuckled and shook her head fondly at his amusing antics. Naruto Shore was a peculiar person. Bro, he's literally got her on the hook, line, and sinker, my boy. We all know. All right. It was 15 minutes to 8 when Tamari finished getting ready. She had taken a hot shower at 8:20 and then got ready. She did not usually apply makeup, but since this was a date with Naruto and not a meal after one of their training sessions, she applied a little bit of it. She had a feeling this would be special. She had put on a sleeveless, loose white blouse with straps over her shoulders and blue jeans that hugged her nicely. She had only put on some powder and lipstick, mainly because she had no idea how to properly put it on, and she never cared for it either. She exited her room and went downstairs into the living room and saw Naruto. This is the first time she had seen him in a casual look, and she had to say he was looking exceptionally handsome. He wore a peach t-shirt inside a brown full-sleeve shirt with buttons open and the sleeves rolled up to the elbows. He wore khaki pants underneath, finished with a pair of sports shoes that she usually saw him wearing. He also wore a blank black headband instead of a hitayate into his usual hairstyle. Needless to say, Tamari loved the look. Naruto, on the other hand, was blown away by how exceptionally beautiful Tamari looked for the date. She always looked beautiful to him, but today it was more special than it usually was. Even her hair was tied in 2 ponytails, contrary to her usual 4. He smiled as she came close to him and wrapped her arms around his neck, him automatically wrapping his around her waist, pushing them close. She smiled like an angel. "So where are you taking me tonight?" Naruto smiled. "I can do this. You can do this. Just read the words." It's really not that hard. It's just a little cringe, but it's whatever, bro. Y'all like this, I think. These types of videos like this, I feel like, get a lot more views when they got stuff like this. Like, people stay for this. So I can do this. Gotta steal my resolve, you feel me? Alright. Naruto smiled as he stole a quick kiss from her. Your look alone makes me want to ravish you here and now. Forget about the wedding," he said as he planted light kisses on her neck. Tamari blushed, making her face go dark red. The blush looked darker than usual because of her makeup, but she couldn't resist. Okay, I'm not gonna say that word. When Naruto began, okay, I'm not gonna say that word. She pulled him closer and tilted her neck to give him more access. Much to her silent protest, he pulled away. As much as I would like to do that, he said with a protesting face, we have an appointment in 10 minutes, shall we? She smiled and hooked her arms with his, both of them going out of the house. It was somewhat nice. Naruto mused to walk to places sometimes instead of just teleporting. Listen, guys. I know some people like this stuff, but I'm not going to have a repeat of episode 15. So there's got to be some sort of compromise. You feel me? There's got to be something. What is this? Apartments? What? Oh, that's not an apartment. They lied to me. I want to see that apartment. Psych. I'm lying. I don't even know what's happening right now. I'm tripping. I just clicked on an advertisement on accident. And I was trying to get back to the page, but it wasn't. All right. Just stop making jokes. Just go. Just go. Staying on track is hard. Like, really. Let's continue. It made you notice certain things that were not possible to be noticed in flashing. Like how the people wore smiles and not so subtly pointed at them and whispered. Like how a little girl would blush when he looked at her and hid her face behind her mother's legs, peeking out to look at them. He chuckled in amusement, drawing Tamari's attention. What is it? Naruto shook his head. Just a little girl blushing at the sight of us. Tamari gave a meaningful look at him. At the sight of you, you mean? She said in a teasing voice. Naruto smoothly shot back. I never said that. It could be at the sight of you. Then why didn't you say that earlier? Naruto had no reply, which made Tamari giggle. It was rare for Naruto to not have a comeback, and she relished the few times she had been able to achieve that. After 5 minutes of walking, they arrived at a fancy-looking restaurant. Fancy as in the kind where most people could come and eat, not the one that was only attended by the snobbish people, which turned out to be most of the times the rich ones. Tamari could see a lot of people in the restaurant, which was fairly big. Naruto and her walked up to the receptionist, the former addressing him. I have an 8:15 reservation. The receptionist frowned and looked up. Namikaze Naruto? Yes. The receptionist motioned one of the waiters. He will guide you to your table, Naruto-sama. Naruto barely kept from rolling his eyes while Tamari quietly giggled beside him. He good-naturedly elbowed her in the ribs. Yeah, very funny. To her surprise, the waiter led them upstairs to the roof where the table was arranged. A few people were on the roof chatting amongst themselves quietly. Tamari figured that the tables up on the roof must be for people who wanted some privacy. The waiter sat them down on the table and they quickly gave their orders. Once he was gone, they started talking. You know, Naruto, your choice for where our date would be is commendable. Naruto smiled and replied, yeah, I kind of wanted our date to be in a place where we could both be comfortable, but not so much as to come off like showing my wealth. Where is the action? You remember the beginning of this? You remember the beginning of this story? I'm talking chapters. Listen, guys, let me go on a tangent for a minute. You remember the beginning? When we were in the beginning? Dang, I said beginning like 7. Wow, I just did it again. But you remember when we first started the story and it was like all action and like deep and like serious and stuff and like they was going crazy. Where are we? Like, yo, come on. It's okay to have like little mini breaks, like little mini arcs and stuff on the side. But yo, this is taking forever. We haven't gotten the main plot in so long. Bruh, like for real. This is low-key making me not want to read the next story, like the next like written story of this if it's gonna continue to be like this. Like I didn't come to read romance. I came to read, I don't even know. I'm done. Let's just continue. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. It's all my fault, bro. It's all my fault. My bad. Let's just continue the video. It's like I'm not actually crying. Where we at? He spread out his arms. This place offers great food and privacy as well, not to mention the view from the roof is just mind-blowing. It was for me when I came here for the first time. Tamari looked around, feeling the cool breeze blowing around them. She got up and went to the railing, smiling at the view of the village that met her. Lights everywhere. It looked like the village itself was breathing with life. Not as great as the view that was offered from the Hokage mountain, but it was beautiful nevertheless. She went back to her seat. You chose a great place, she told him as she took his hand in hers. Naruto smiled and rubbed his thumb on her hand. Funny story, actually, how I got us a seat. Tamari tilted her head in question, which he answered. Normally, you don't give rooftop reservations to teenagers. You must have noticed that we are the only teenagers up here. Tamari wasn't an idiot. She had noticed that particular detail, and she quickly pieced together what he was trying to say. Her lips turned upward into a smile. You used your name to get this table, didn't you? Naruto's eyes twinkled with mischief and pride. The latter aimed at Tamari. You know, you alarm me sometimes with how sharp you are. Tamari accepted the compliment with a nod. It wasn't exactly hard. Also, if you use your influence to get us a table, does this mean that clan heirs come up here as well? You know, with some training, we can make a great detective out of you. Naruto smirked. Tamari lightly laughed. I'm not suited for that. Maybe something more... I'm not going to say that word. I don't know if I can get like demonetized for cursing and stuff. So, I'm not going to do it. Yeah. Let's continue. Both of them lightly chuckled at that. Yes, clan heirs come up here. You need to understand that in Konoha, people who have good influence are treated a little better than those that don't. Which is not to say that people with less influence get mediocre service. He leaned forward as if sharing a secret. It's even better if you're related to the Hokage. Between us, I plan to use my influence wherever I can. He smirked at the last bit. Tamari giving him a approving nod. Good to see that you're not overly modest. Naruto just looked at the sky with a smile. Out of the corner of his eye, he spotted a waiter coming their way. Looks like our meals have arrived. They made small talk between their meals, mostly about what they would like to become in the future. Of course, Tamari already knew that Naruto's dream was to become the greatest Hokage ever. But it came as a surprise to Naruto that Tamari wanted to be the greatest master of wind release ever. Of course, Naruto knew that she was already highly proficient with her large war fan, but had yet to begin training with the smaller ones. That sparked an idea in his mind, but he would get to that later. They finished their meals and paid for it. As they left, they were just strolling in the village with no destination in mind. Unknown to Tamari, Naruto was steadily getting nervous. He had something he had to do tonight, something very important. He did not want to mess this up. You won't. Naruto smiled a bit at Kurama's reassurance and turned his head to look at Tamari. She was looking at him, admiring this night. He gave her a nudge, causing her to face him. How about we go somewhere private to sit down? I don't have a problem with that. Suddenly, they were standing on top of the Yondaime's head, overlooking the village. Naruto sat down, leaning his back against a spike of air. Tamari sat down beside him, leaning against his side. He wrapped his arm around her, pulled her close. Naruto always treasured the times when he just got to sit like this, and Tamari enjoyed the silence. You ever wonder about the future? Tamari's sudden question startled him out of his thoughts, and he turned to look at her. She was still facing the village, head on his shoulders. Sometimes I do, though I tend to live in the present. Why? Naruto thought about the answer and then replied, I can control what I do in the present. The future I cannot. Tamari turned her head towards him with a frown. But the actions you do influence the future. Wouldn't you know the outcome of your actions? Naruto smiled as he gave the answer. I'm not the only one influencing my future now, am I? Tamari looked deep and thought of that. Naruto turned his gaze back to the village with a smile, but in his mind it was like a brooding feeling. He could feel it. A storm was coming to them, and he wasn't sure if they were prepared or not. But he would do whatever he could to ensure that whatever was his would remain safe. But then he remembered what he came to do. He unwrapped his arm from around Tamari and got up, getting a confused look from her. Will you stand for a second? When she obliged, he gently grabbed his shoulder and stared into her teal eyes. Suddenly, it seemed a lot harder, and he almost wanted to turn around. But he was an Uzumaki, darn it. They don't run away from their problems. Alright. Tamari, I'm going to ask you a question, and you just need to say yes or no. Got it? Boom. Alright. Cliffhanger. Yes. We're 22 minutes in. So I can actually end it here, and nobody can get mad. Yeah, you can't get mad. You guys are going to see the results of my labor and efforts and money as well. Let me end this. And money as well. Let me tell my Siri to end this. Turn off timer. You guys are going to see the results of my labor. I actually put in a lot of time, energy, a little bit of money. And I hope that you guys enjoy. New stuff is on the way. I'm going to make new videos when I want to. There's no schedule at the present. I'm going to try to figure out when maybe Mondays and Wednesdays is going to be a thing. Because today is Wednesday as of now, 1:46. And this is going to drop later this afternoon because it's a treat for you guys since you were so well behaved. And yeah, I really appreciate everybody. I appreciate all the love, support, comments, asking if I'm okay, all that stuff. Let's get to 3,000 subs. Let's get that one video to 40K views. Like, there's stuff to do. So let's do it. Much love. Don't forget to check the links in the description if you want to read the story or go to the Discord to message me. You can do whatever you got to do. Like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget that. I try to respond to all comments, heart all comments, and like all comments when I see them. If I miss your comment, it's an entire accident. I apologize ahead of time. I'm not going to do it in the comments. I'm sorry. It really isn't on purpose. Some people be taking it personally, but it's not personal at all, I promise, alright? But without further ado, this is your boy, the Anime Ambu, and I'm out. Deuces.